Hi, I'm Darren Rutter, or D. Rutter. I do a YouTube channel, and I'm active on social media, on Facebook and so forth. And in the last few years I've gotten involved locally here in Vancouver with activism that's going on. And if you are not aware, a lot of the activism that happens locally in Vancouver is cannabis activism, because Vancouver is kind of the grassroots cannabis sort of mecca of Canada, and Canada is right now kind of at play globally, as our leaders have said we are going to legalize by July 1st. That's Cannabis Day, or Canada Day, 2018. Of course, the promise was 2015, then 2016, then 2017, and now it's 2018. So of course it may not be even 2018, but anyways, that's the current promise. And let's just jump right into it here. What I think, and what a lot of people here locally think is happening with this legalization, is actually another type of prohibition. And prohibition, of course, is when the government decides that something is prohibited or banned from the people, and does everything they can to make sure the people don't get it and don't have it. And so that's what we are dealing with in Canada for the past 80 years or so, is cannabis prohibition. And prohibition is a failed policy. We know it doesn't work. It didn't work with alcohol, and it hasn't worked with drugs. The war on drugs has been a complete failure from any way that you look at it. And I don't even understand why it's still being pushed, because everybody knows that it's failed. So really we know we need something different. And legalization is not the answer. We don't think that legalization is going to be the free the weed that we have been pushing for all these years. We don't think that it's actually going to stay in the hands of the people. We think that what legalization is, well, and this is what they're saying it is actually, is a corporatization. So it's the government's friends and family members and business partners and so forth that are going to be profiting off of the legalization, and they are the ones that are the shareholders in the companies, and they're the ones that are running these companies, the licensed producers, or the LPs, which is basically the enemy of the free market. The LP system is a monopoly or an oligopoly system where a few control the entire market, and the government will be able to set prices, determine the buyers, the sellers, how they can buy, how they can sell, what they can buy and sell, and when, and in what portions and quantities. And it's just really nightmarish, the amount of control they want over the quote legalized system. It's really not the legalization that they said. They never said, okay, elect the Liberals and we will restrict you to 4 plants maximum, throw you in jail for 14 years if you go over that. If you pass a joint to a 17-year-old, you go to jail. The 17-year-old goes to jail too. Like what? Everybody has to go to jail for doing anything wrong now against the system, against the regime, the quote legalization, and it's huge punishments and penalties. So I've kind of been joking. It's not really a joking matter, but I've kind of been joking around. If you were thinking of growing weed or thinking of doing anything illegal in regards to weed, now is the time, because as soon as they legalize it, things are going to get really, really, really illegal for you. You're going to go to jail. Right now, there's just going to be fines, or maybe even nothing that happens to you if you do anything. But pretty soon, when legalization comes, you are fucked if you try growing weed outside of the regime. If you try to make money, then that's basically what they don't want. They don't want anyone to make money. I don't even think they want anybody to grow for them and their friends, that kind of thing. That's going to be taxed and everything, regulated heavily. And you have to grow their genetics. You have to grow what strains they choose, and there's only a few strains that they will allow. So that really limits people's access to it. Also, this kind of legalization doesn't really open up the research that I'm looking for. I think there's a lot of research to be done. We know that cannabis can cure cancer. There's many different types of cancer, and some of them are not cured by cannabis. And one of them is actually the kind that John McCain has. He has, what is it, a glioblastoma, I think? Yeah, glioblastoma, and that is not cured by cannabis, at least not right now. If I was him and I had that, of course, I would certainly go on a high dose of full spectrum plant oil, and just as much as I could possibly take, and that's what I would be doing, but I wouldn't expect that that would cure me. I don't think it might slow it down or alleviate a lot of the symptoms, but I don't know, and he probably is not going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it long with that type of cancer. I'm not going to comment further on that, but you've probably heard that in the news recently. Locally, now I've been involved in some exciting activism at the truly grassroots level. And what I mean by that is that everybody who's involved, every single person, has just as much say as anyone else. And there is no true structural organization to it, other than we all operate on principles of peace and liberty and common law and that kind of thing. So everybody there is basically operating on the golden rule kind of thing, like do unto others. So we get together, and it's really truly a bunch of free people operating in a free manner within a very controlled system. We're gathering downtown Vancouver, of course, each time, just behind the art gallery on Robson Street. As the public passes by, and as the world passes by, really, people from all over, New Zealand and Peru and Brazil and Japan and the United States, the United Kingdom, and all over Europe and Australia and South America and all across Canada and the United States, everywhere. We've seen people from probably almost every country in that part of town, going back and forth between the big international hotels and all those big shops downtown, and there's a lot of transit routes there. So the spot that we go to is really amazing to meet people and to sell $2 dabs right there downtown. And a dab is a small amount of cannabinoids. Oops, that's not a small amount there, that's a lot, but a dab is just a small piece of that. So you would take, let's see if I can do it here. Okay, like that. That's a dab. And we go downtown and we join a farmer's market, and there's a rig, and we do $2 dabs for people. We sell small amounts of cannabinoids for $2, and we heat up the rig, and then you put the dab on the hot nail, and it goes up through the glass there, and the person inhales it. And if you've never done a dab before, you got to try it. But a lot of people, it's their first time they've ever done a dab, and $2 is a pretty nice price point. I mean, a lot of people have $2 in their pocket, and it's, as you're passing through the farmer's market there's a lot of different choices. They got pre-rolled joints, and you got grams or ounces of weed that you can buy, or different specialty items and concentrates and oils and edibles, tons of edibles, cookies and brownies and all that kind of stuff. And but the $2 dabs, it's one of the cheapest things at the market, and it's one of the most effective, I guess you could say, one of the most obvious things that you can do, because once you do a little dab of that, that's like maybe a half a joint, or maybe almost a joint worth. That would be there. It's almost a joint worth of cannabinoids right there, and it's just pulled out of the plant with a solvent, and then the solvent is removed, and then vacuum dried until there's none of it left. It's just the resins, just the oils, the cannabinoids. Shatter's another word for it, but basically it's just an extract, a plant extract. And one of the most common things people say is, wow, this is awesome. And another one is this even legal? And we always give them the same answer, no, it's not legal. And then they say, well, why are you here? How can you be here? And they say, there's cops like right over there. I see cops just right over around the corner. They're not even around the corner. They're on the corner. They're watching us. And how can this be? And they say, well, through years and years of activism here in Vancouver, we have developed a reputation and a rapport with the police and with the public so that this can happen. And we can now do a farmer's market once a month instead of just once a year on 4/20, April 20th, or on Cannabis Day, which is July 1st. Instead of just once or twice a year, now we're doing it once a month. And you know what? Now we're doing it twice a month, even. It's on the first and the third Saturday of every month. And me, Drutter, and Medicatie, my wife, are down there selling $2 dabs. And yeah, the $2 just basically covers our costs. We're kind of just doing it mostly for the activism, but it brings a lot of people over to the table. It starts a lot of conversations, and you would be surprised. I've done $2 dabs for little old grannies. I've done $2 dabs for people, crippled, totally paralyzed people wheeling up in a wheelchair, you know, using their lip to get up to the friggin' table and do a dab. And then off they go with their lip again, driving away. I mean, I've done dabs for all kinds of people. I've done dabs for street people, completely homeless people that had no money and just came up and asked, and I said, sure, I'll give you a dab. And I've done dabs for doctors. But the cool thing about some of the homeless people is I had a guy come back the month later and he said, you gave me a $2 dab last month for free. And he said, he looked just as bad as before, but he said to me, he said, that dab was enough that I got to skip 2 doses of hard drugs. I don't remember what he said, but whatever the slang term was, but he's talking about heroin. So he was able to miss 2 doses like that evening because he did 1 dab of cannabis. And as you know, or I hope you know, if you don't, we could talk about it, or you could research this, but as you should know, cannabis is one of the safest medicines there is. And all the propaganda about it causing brain damage and hurting the youth and making people sinful and wild and angry and all that kind of stuff, it was all lies, all of it. It doesn't even cause cancer. Nixon tried to make us believe it caused cancer, but he found with his studies that it cures cancer. And so he had the study silenced in 1974, a study that he commissioned to be done. He wanted an excuse for the war on drugs, and instead he found a cure for cancer. And so he made it quiet. This is an important issue for me. My wife has cancer and uses cannabis to keep her cancer at bay and keep it, as far as we know, not active at all right now. So we have a lot of passion for this, and we're going to keep fighting for this. And I just wanted to explain to you that I do a lot of activism, and I've been in activism for about 10 years now, starting just online, just spreading awareness and just trying to educate myself and others and get motivated and stuff 10 years ago. And all the way up till now to the point where I'm helping other activists to get their start and helping them to help other activists get their starts. So it's like a huge network of activism that's going on here in Vancouver. The online thing feels like it's kind of controlled and stifled. I don't know really what else to do online anymore. All my videos get no views anymore and no comments, and it's almost like no one's watching, but I know people are watching. It's just YouTube really shrinks these channels as much as they can and keeps them from growing and keeps them from being discovered anymore. 10 years ago it was a lot easier to find viewers and to find friends on YouTube and to meet people and stuff. It's really not the same, but so I'm doing a lot in person, and I'm just going to heat up this dab rig in a moment and do a dab. I've done that on a video before, but I feel like doing it again. So this is something that Medicatie and I both do for medical reasons, but also we do this for recreational reasons, and also we do this as part of our activism. We do the $2 dabs. We sell dabs for $2, and you know, that's maybe something that most people don't admit. Like, that's kind of like saying that you're a drug dealer, I guess, isn't it? But times are really changing, and activism involves civil disobedience for us. And part of the problem with the new system that the government in Canada seems to be pushing is that it's going to leave things like farmers markets and storefronts, i.e. dispensaries, and other free market options. It's going to leave them completely illegalized. And peaceful people that are just selling a dab for $2 to someone else, or people that are running a dispensary selling dried flowers in a store, are going to get raided by police, violently thrown to the ground, beaten, just like Medicaid was recently in a raid on a vehicle because they thought there was cannabis in there, and she was hurt. She was doing nothing wrong, and they didn't find anything anyway. And so that was really unfortunate that she is even experiencing the harm that prohibition is doing to people in Canada, and it's only going to get worse with legalization that's coming next year. So that is why I feel so strongly about, being a drug dealer, i.e. selling dabs for $2 as part of a farmer's market of cannabis twice a month now in Vancouver. And hopefully this is going to spread all across Canada. I heard that in Edmonton they're starting up farmers markets, possibly in Victoria, BC, also over on the island. And I hope other places too, because the farmers market model is a legitimate and important and safe way for people to get cannabis. And it is indeed very important and a powerful way, because we have people coming to this market now every month, and hopefully now every 2 weeks or twice a month, to get their medication for that next entire month or next 2-week period. We have people coming and buying and stocking up on edibles and oils as their medication because they don't have access to a dispensary, or they don't have access to the government's online purchasing system, which is disgusting cannabis anyway. So this is very important, and we are going to keep doing this. Call us what you want, but we feel very strongly about this, and we're not going to stop. And the police, as they have been doing, will hopefully continue to just see this as what it is. This is us doing civil disobedience and showing the world there's other ways that this can safely be brought to market and sold to consumers without anyone being caused any harm, without any disturbance in the peace. And this is a legitimate way that it can be done even after legalization comes. And the people getting thrown in prison right now, and as they are going to continue doing, has to end immediately, and we have to find another way of enforcing cannabis laws, if there even needs to be any laws around cannabis. I think, of course, there's going to be massive laws around it. They want to find ways to enforce it. They want to find ways to ensure the black market never goes away. Of course, they want the black market, as they always have, so that they can justify the RCMP and other police, so that they can keep enforcing against us and keep giant for-profit prisons. We've known this formula for years, and they're just going to continue it in Canada, and it's disgusting. And my activism will continue until there is a free and fair market for cannabis in Canada, 100% free and fair. And that's not here now, and it doesn't look like it's going to be coming with legalization as they're promising or threatening. So I'll end this video with a quick demonstration of a dab. There it is. This is some Rockstar Kush I got from Van to Can Extracts at the market last Saturday. And I'm going to skip most of the heating of the nail because that's kind of the long and boring part, but I'll just skip right to the end after this. Okay. Cheers. there you have it. If you'd rather see hot girls doing dabs, I have a link down below for you to Facebook. Check that one out. And I'll put some other links down below as well if you want to get involved in what's going on in Vancouver and other activism that I'm involved with. Check out the links down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.